And open the meeting for the November 23rd Board of Public Health and Safety. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carol, could we do a roll call, please?
Mayor Sheets.
Here.
Greg Miller.
Present.
Megan Sheets.
First on the agenda tonight, we have the minutes from the November 9th, 2020 regular meeting. If you have any questions, comments, or anything, if not, I entertain a motion to pass those.
We pass the approved minutes of the November 9th meeting.
I second.
Roll call, please, Carol.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye. Next on the agenda, we have approval of claims that the court treasurer's office has got ready for us this week.
I'll make a motion that we approve the claim.
Roll call, please, Carol.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye. Did we have any public comments? We don't have. Okay. We'll move on then to department reports. First off, we have human resources. Caitlin, I think you're going to talk to us tonight. It's about the COVID protocol update. And if you want to talk about it, I think we're going to use this mic right over here. Okay.
A couple of meetings ago, the Board of Works decided to continue the resolution that allows us to pay our employees when they're not working due to COVID circumstances, with the stipulation that they wanted some more guidelines on how we're going to do that. So I wrote up a protocol with help of Dennis Denrath, and it's been checked by Les already. I do have the official on letterhead here for you to sign. It basically just states that you have to get a test to be paid. If it does come back negative, but you're still sick and you need to take off of work still, that you will switch over to your off to use. And then also, if it's determined by the Board of Works that the way it's being used in any manner that you're allowed to reset that.
Megan or Greg, did you have any comments on this?
I think we just touched on the tips of this, that, of course, we want to pay those that are COVID, but those that we wanted to be, if you are a little proactive in mitigating what could possibly be abuse of this, saying that they have COVID leave, and yet they don't, because I know in some business situations that come up with an individual might be on their second or third COVID leave or symptoms. All that will be appropriate word training. We just want to make sure that we're taking that all on that. Caitlin addressing it in her write-up that is determined, not suspected, but determined. So we have to be sure that it is leading to use. So we can assume that we don't look for that to happen because department heads are appropriately managing their employees and so forth. But we want to be protective of our guests.
I think we just, as this takes care of the quarantine pay protocol. But I think when we talked before, it's, that each department head will be looking at their employees and deeming what's necessary according to protocol. I think we left that open to view that also. So I think this kind of ties that all together, that we can do the protocol or the quarantine and then how that's going to be paid out.
So, and she said if they have negative tests for COVID, then that leave that they're on, if they're still sick, would revert back to like personal time, sick time, or vacation time if they have any of those left, would no longer be considered COVID pay. If we pass this today, then we'll pass it out to all the departments. If you have any questions, feel free to get a hold of HR or one of us. We'd be happy to discuss it. I would entertain a motion to pass this quarantine pay protocol.
I'll make the motion that we have this pay protocol for quarantine.
I second that.
Roll call, please, Carol.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Craig Miller.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye.
We'll go ahead and sign that tonight, and then we'll get these out to the department heads to make sure that your employees are aware of this. Anything else from HR that we need to talk about or anything? We're good on everything so far. I do want to thank all the department heads and the departments. I think we're doing a good job of keeping our employees safe and healthy, and that's the big concern right now. We want to make sure that we're doing that, and I appreciate all that you've done. Next on the agenda, Attorney Wes Bergen. Would you open the fuel bid for us, please?
We just have the one, Mayor,
Yes.
Yes, that is correct.
and this one is from Co-Alliance, and I think Mark Ransom is here this evening with us. And so, first item is the gasoline quantity, 40,000 gallons, fixed price, $1.75. And diesel, 40,000 gallons, on-road premium, $1.80, off-road premium, $1.80. The price quote is fixed unit price through the contract, 24 hours secured access to fuel located in the Frankfurt Petroleum Bulk Plant to be provided. The gasoline on-road diesel price quote is delivered price and includes taxes. Must be filed with Co-Alliance. All products are country marked branded and meet all federal and state specifications. The Co-Alliance, the LFP is taxpayer under operating Cook County community. So that's the fixed price bid. And the floating price bid is the gasoline item at 40,000 gallons. The rack price is $1.06, rate in adder 30 cents for a float price of $1.36. Diesel 40,000 gallons, on-road premium $1.43. 30 cent rate and adder for $1.73 float price. The off-road premium is the same at $1.43 plus 30 cents for $1.73. Price quote is floating unit price for thermal contract. The other specifications are identical to the other ones I've had fixed price. Those are both dated November 23rd. So just as in the past, we have one quote for fixed price, one for floating price.
Okay, could you repeat that for the fixed floating, please?
Yes, the fixed for the gasoline is $1.75 a gallon,
Okay,
and for the diesel is $1.80. And the floating price for the gasoline is $1.36, and the diesel is $1.73.
okay, I guess we have an option here tonight. We could take those under an advisement if you want to.
I don't know, Mark, how much latitude you have in terms of time.
It changes daily.
That's what
It's not a lot,
for.
but it does change daily.
Okay, I mean, and if you're ready to act on it tonight, if anybody has any questions. Anybody know what we're currently paying?
I want to say the diesel is around 230
Okay,
and the gasoline was maybe 180.
okay. So this is under that.
Yes.
For my education, if you can explain the difference between the fixed and the floating, just for me to understand the concept of the difference.
Sure. A fixed bid is where we will lock that price in for the entire year. So we look at the future prices and we purchase fuel based on those future prices. So as you can see by the float price, which is what today's actual price is, we anticipate the future is going up throughout the year. So the float price would change daily based on what we call rack which is the price that comes out every day about 6 o'clock.
So that's the float is a variable,
Correct.
and so as it flows, as it goes, so will our budget.
Yes. In past history, most municipalities have done the fixed price simply for a budget reason. And quite honestly, except for this year, the success rate of being lower this time of year is probably in the 70s to 80%. Historically, fuel takes a little bit of a slowdown this time of year through February, and except, like I said, with the exception of this year, it's been, you can almost throw this year out the window because nothing was normal. There's still some really good pricing right now from that fixed standpoint for next year.
I did notice on the way over here this evening, the gas detailing is $1.71.9 down. But the Speedway just that it's up to $1.99. We usually see the lead in the community in the price.
Which is one of those things, if we go on the floating, I mean, if it goes up over $2 a gallon, we pay that. I mean,
Correct.
go under, but
I wonder if Jason or Todd here to have any input. You use a lot of it.
Well, contrary to popular belief, except for, fire and police, we use a lot, those months departmentation. I think it's always a good idea for us to stay at this rate, for obvious reasons, from your standpoint. And we're constantly using fuel. I don't know how much, but, with trash trucks, we're using the big vehicles, large vehicles, obviously both diesel and gas. So I would say, from my standpoint, this would be the way to go.
I'd agree with Jason. I mean, you put in all the electric trucks that are out running, and when they're running, they have to be on when they're on a job site, and you get the water department, you get sewer maintenance, using water or fuel and gas or diesel. The fixed price from the numbers that I have from what we're paying right now to the numbers that was just quoted in the bid are very attractive to us from a utility standpoint. It's going to save us, I think, next year. I know I talked to Mark earlier in the year when gas prices dropped pretty bad to see if there was anything we could do, but I can't believe that they're going to drop much lower than that.
I have to agree with you. It's a real good fixed rate for us.
Are we able to make a motion?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll make a motion there that we accept the fixed price bid.
I second that.
Roll call, please, Carol.
Mayor Sheets,
Aye.
Craig Miller,
Aye.
Megan Sheets,
Okay, we'll accept the fixed price bid. I believe there's a place that we need to sign off or whatever. You can give it Carol. She'll write the information in her office and we'll get everything taken care of. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
I appreciate it. See you. Next on the agenda is unfinished business. I know that we have asked the department heads if you have anything to let us know before, and I don't have anything down for anyone, but does anyone have anything that they would like to bring up tonight? Okay, and I have asked Bart to bring us up to date on a few things. The Parks Department seems to have a lot going on right now. Getting ready for the Christmas lights, and I know they're working really hard at that.
Yeah, so I wanted to give you guys a couple updates. First off, on Friday, we had our walkthrough with the engineers and with Google Pier at Prairie Creek Park. It went very well. I think that, Don was there, building inspector was there, they were there for a while. I was there till probably 4 in the afternoon. We went over things from all the caulking on every single thing that they've built, all the posts they've set, all the painting they've done, literally everything that was involved with the project. Obviously, we've been checking those things over time, but Friday was a day where we had plans in front of us. We said, this is what you were supposed to do. This is what you did. This is what we want done. The engineers, at the end of the day, they determined that we were substantially complete with Prairie Creek Park, and it is turned over to the city. So as of Friday, at end of business day, the city does own Prairie Creek Park and, pretty much every way that you can. All the warranties for all the equipment there, anything that they've installed, all those warranties kicked in at the end of business day on Friday. So what that basically means is they have the exact day is going to be determined. Usually it's 30 days, but in my experience, sometimes it's 60. So we will find out this week. Cecil is going to send us an email and let everyone know. If they say 30 days is what we think should be, then I say that that's probably what we should accept. They may come back and say 60. There was a question that whether or not we want people in the park at this time. My suggestion is, yeah, I don't think there's any reason that people can't be on the playground or walking throughout the park. The biggest thing we're talking about that they need to do is just touching up painting, doing very minor things. We're not going to be in anyone's way. They're not going to have major equipment there. It's essentially caulking things, painting things correctly. Some of the stuff my parks employees are doing, like the exterior doors. So we have a time frame where we're going to be working on that as well. But I think it's important they have a month or so before it snows, and maybe kids will even be out there when it snows, but just to allow people to be, on the playground. And we're not going to do any events. We don't have anything planned where people can rent out any of the facilities. But saying that, I did all the training for all those individual rooms where the people can rent those out. It's super nice. I was really, really impressed with, basically, as you guys know, the event center that's over there, there's 3 separate places where people can rent those out for a nominal fee. Then what was really neat, though, is the partitions. First off, it could be a room as big as this. Also, you can also put these partitions in, but the partitions have doors and exit signs. And so even when the partitions are closed, you can still get to every part of the event center, get to the restroom. You don't have to go outside in the rain if you have to. You can just pass through these partitions. So that was really impressive. Overall, I think I know this has been a very long time past when they were supposed to be done. We've heard for months and months and months that we're ready. We're going to be ready next week. We're going to be ready next week. I just let it play off. We're at the point now where it's just painting, caulking, and it's finalizing things that the engineers at the state rate for. The engineers are holding them to say, hey, you got to get this done. There will be some pushback. This is the time that I always tell people in the project where people kind of yell at each other at the end of it, because you're talking about it's hours, but we're still here working. There's still minor things to do. And a lot of times the contractor says, well, this wasn't done because of this. And, Cecil and Matt are going to have a few interesting conversations. But in the meantime, I think that it's safe. People can be there. I don't think we're inviting any danger by allowing the public to be there. I think it's, if you guys want, we could just put something out on social media and say, potentially in the spring, we could do, we could talk about when we want to do a grand opening, but, which I think should be a separate thing. But, for now, I think that people, they can go to the park, they've been walking around through it anyway. For the last month or so, we haven't been kicking people out. We've been asking them to leave, but they're walking around. So my suggestion is we go ahead and announce, they can walk around the park, they can enjoy it, they can come and see the things that, the city has spent a lot of money and time and working on this. And, overall, I'm very impressed, very happy with where we're at. Not that we really should do business with them in the future, but for what it is now, where we're at, I think that's good. So, if you guys have any questions about it, I was there all day long with the engineers, so, I went over every single aspect of the entire park. So if you have any questions, I'll hopefully have the answer.
Make it a great deal.
The main thing I was concerned with part was the area behind the ticket booth that was open with no railing for that.
Sure.
Is that been resolved?
So the RDC, did not want to continue with McDougal Pierce with the fencing. So the final say on the fencing is that RDC accepted that, okay, we spent this amount of money and this amount of fencing is done. Soon as McDougal Pierce is completely gone, which I imagine Joe and I would be working on that this week or right after Thanksgiving. We're going to be with a new company, actually the same company that's doing the fencing. We'll get them back in here, and that's going to be an immediate process. So that spot behind the ticket booth is still, a potential area where people could walk in. It's been that way for a long time. It will be resolved, yes, but not by McDougal Pierce. If we were to continue with them, who knows when this would be resolved. So the RDC decided they're going to call it good for now, and then immediately start back up with the fencing problem.
I just think it'd be a good idea to maybe contact our insurance company. Because when I talked to him before, he was just have some concerns about certain issues, not that would keep that from happening, but I think the insurance company just has some areas to look at. That I think they would like to maybe talk to you about. About what might be.
I mean, I see the same thing. There are fencing concerns, 100%. It's not like they're not. They're still there. The ones that we've argued about for months, they are still there. So yeah, but it is something that we're going to be working on.
If you would just, we could put you in contact with him.
Yeah.
I think he would just like to do, just a walkthrough with you just to see what those concerns are. And for Don, you guys were okay to sign off on that, Don, for?
We just saw two things that we felt needed to be fixed. One, still some fire caulking in the, under the parking garage, the firewall. There's a couple spots there. Back in the green room, there was a ceiling that had a major gap between the ceiling and the actual vent. I know they're looking at taking care of all those. We back into the event center. There was a brick or so that needed to be either replaced and re-tapped because of the nature of it was. And in the restroom on the west wall of the restroom, the front of the restroom, it had some wires that had not been tucked into the box and they were exposed. And that's all that we had as far as allowing a CO to occur. Now, as well as Bart said, there's a lot of little odds and ends to be done. We look at the parapet wall coming down on Jackson Street. As everybody knows, that has now been painted. Most of the cracks were taped, but not all of the cracks were taped. But all the material protecting the wall has been put in place. So, we're pretty good with what we saw and what we would say, well, you can't open the park until it's fixed.
So my list had 37 items. So, and that was, I'm not an engineer. Mine was 37 items. Cecil's was longer. Wes's was longer than that. So they combined that all into one document that you guys will all receive. Once Cecil puts that all together, then that you guys will have it, and you guys can go down line by line if you want and check it out. In terms of everything being functional, it's all functional.
So is there temporary fencing right now in that area that we're concerned about? Did they have some like orange?
Yeah, that is not there right now.
It is not.
Correct.
That's something we need to some way.
As a warning.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Just some of that caution tape or something that you, at least I guess discourage. It's not gonna keep somebody from doing it. If they want to, they're gonna get dirty there, but maybe just discourage.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is good news part that is coming to fruition. Thanks for your diligence. It's great to us that on top of it all along. And I think we're all going to look forward to maybe together, hopefully, as a body of citizens in the spring and enjoy a wonderful event.
Looking forward to it.
It's really neat. I'm excited for it.
We've been through our challenges with it, that's for
Absolutely.
sure. As we have many things this year. So anyway, you're gonna be meeting, I'm guessing, or talking to Cecil along with Joe, and that you guys are gonna be staying on top of it.
Yeah, Cecil's gonna try to get us the document by Wednesday. That's his goal, but he thought it could potentially be Monday. Yeah, regardless, next week you guys will have a document where you'll see, this is what we saw, this is what they're going to do about it, because they're gonna fight. McDougal Pierce is not gonna accept all these things. But, no company does. They're going to say, they're gonna have excuses, and they're gonna say this and this and this. But, Cecil's really diligent about keeping on top of everything, so it'll be good.
Another thing I wanted to mention is probably in the next couple of weeks or so, I wouldn't mind to have, maybe like Kimberly and you and myself and Annie, maybe somebody from the Board of Works sit down and see what we're gonna be doing next spring, because I have no idea what all you've got scheduled or planned, or as soon as we can get some of those decisions made, then we can let the public know what direction we're moving in.
Yeah.
I think the public's ready to hear that, they're wanting to see how we're gonna move forward, so I know this is gonna be a busy week, but maybe the following week or the following weekend, sit down and get some of those events in place.
Yeah.
See what we're doing, plan a grand opening, we're ready.
Yeah, me too.
So, also, I was wondering, could you talk to us a little bit about how the lights are going, what your plan is as far as volunteers out there during this time to make sure that we're being safe for.
Sure. So the lights are going, and as far as what I'm seeing, I think we're fine. We're on schedule to get done, just like, we normally do. Last year, they said they decorate all the way up until Christmas. That's not now. We'll have, by the end of next week, no other decorations will be needed. I've pushed the guys really, really hard, guys and girls. I'm not their biggest fan right now, but it's all coming together. I think everything is going to be just as big as it ever has been. We have all the displays that we've always had. We've added some new things just in terms of updated lighting, no major new displays. But in terms of the safety and the volunteers, in the past, they've had volunteers where people can come out and volunteer to be Santa inside the little Santa house. We've given them the equipment to do that, like Santa house, things to hand out. This year, we're not doing that. We're still allowing people to come out. For the most part, the only volunteers we have so far are parks employees. We don't have anyone from the public that has signed up. Now, there is a group that is doing a small event where people just drive through and they'll hand out little goodie bags similar to what they did during Halloween. That's the event that I brought to you guys during the last Board of Works meeting. When they start out, or when they bring that to us, we go over with them and say, these are the guidelines. You have to have your mask on when you're here. Even if they're outside, when they're together, when they're within 6 feet, they have to have their masks on. For the most part, I think people have done pretty good about that. I'm sure there's always going to be people that don't do it. We can't follow up with every single person that refuses to do it. But what we're doing on our part is setting the guidelines, setting a standard. I'm going to be there when they're actually, the group that you guys approved is a fun group. They're going to come out, and basically a few people, I think there's 3, they're going to be there one night, and they're going to have just a couple costumes on. I'm going to be there. I won't be in a costume, but I'll just be there just to be a part of the event and to be a part of the community, and let them know that, the parks employees are there too, which I volunteered, and all my employees were pretty much signed up to be, in the Santa house, handing out candy canes and doing things like that. But I assure you guys, just like it's been from the beginning, my team takes COVID very seriously. We always have our masks on and properly social distance. So my team knows the repercussions if they don't. So that's, I feel like as long as we set the example for everyone, when they see us out there and they see us that we are still, doing events because we want to give a sense of normalcy to the city, that we are still social distancing. We're not handing out food to people. We're not, handing anything, interacting. It's just a simple treat bag or candy canes that are prepackaged. So we're not going to be giving out hot chocolate or drinks this year. We felt like that was a little bit, if you're holding a cup, you're filling up a drink, and then you're giving something, that gives you a lot more opportunity to spread it. For us, it's just a simple they will hand it to them. No one's gonna be getting out of their vehicles. We're asking everyone to stay in. And obviously, if they have, even if they come up to us in their vehicles, we get close enough, we ask that they have their masks on. So my team's taking it very, very seriously. So that's all we can do is set the example for the community.
I appreciate that, Barb. And if you do have to get volunteers out from the community, I know that you will stress to them as well what the rules are, because, I mean, that is the utmost importance to me. I want to make sure that our employees, that our citizens stay safe. Everyone's supposed to stay in their vehicles. There should not be anybody walking through this at all during this time. Also, the kettle corn, I'm guessing that's not going to
It
happen.
is not happening.
Right.
Originally, the board, you guys did approve them to come out. However, the owner of the company has, cancer. And they decided there was no way they could come out. Actually, they called us last week and they said, we don't want to lose our position. We want to come back next year. If we have to come out, we will, but we told them they can obviously come back next year with no repercussions just because they missed one. That's perfectly fine. So they are not going to be out. So in terms of vendors, none.
Okay, and it's the kitchen, it's not gonna be open there.
Correct.
Okay. I appreciate that, and I trust that you're gonna make sure that you take care of the safety and the well-being of our citizens as well as your employees. That's what's so important to us. Anybody have anything else for Barb?
All right.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have anything? Next we'll move on to new business. Carol, do you want to talk to us about the COVID CARES Act claim?
Yeah, so what we have here is the claim that the council passed a resolution on the November 9th meeting that allows the Board of Works to move these funds that we received from the COVID CARES Act relief into our general fund. Does anyone have any questions for me?
And that was the
513,617.
So what we do is just move it, or write a claim out of that CARES Act fund. Yep. Is that great? Yes, okay. And then,
If it's voted on,
and then it will be put into city general. Could we make a separate motion on that just to approve that claim for that money to be transferred?
It's already been, you're putting it into the city general, you need to transfer it to the city general.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. I'll make the motion that, having received the funds, $513,617, that be transferred to the city general fund.
This is as a reimbursement for,
As a reimbursement for the COVID expenses. Yes.
I second that.
roll call please, Carol.
Mayor Sheets,
Aye.
Greg Miller,
Aye.
Megan Sheets,
Next on the agenda is approval of the Anthem insurance renewal. Carol, do you have anything, or Caitlin, do you have anything to say about this Anthem renewal?
Not necessarily, it's pretty much, we looked over it page by page from last year's contract, and because not much is changing, they pretty much read word for word, so.
And as we said, we made no changes, I believe, on the policy at all, so all those are gonna be the same. Okay, so I got a new phone today. Sorry. I didn't know what I was doing, but I told you. Oh, my goodness. So there were no changes to the insurance as far as deductibles or anything like that. No changes to the premiums for the employees or the retirees. I think everything has stayed the same. So I asked them to bring it tonight in front of the Board of Works and ask for approval for me to sign off on the renewal for the Anthem.
Right. thanks KHR for having given us a copy of this prior to tonight, so we can look it over and validate just what you said, Caitlin. So, yeah, I think we're good to go on there.
Can we get that in the form of a motion, please?
I'll move that we accept the, that we be able to sign off on the end of the contract for the coming calendar year.
And I will be insurance, I know it takes a lot, it's huge for employees, just an added plus that we haven't always seen, so.
Absolutely, and that goes back, like you said, to the employees as well, as far as, going to the doctor, we have the great clinic out there that is, as we can tell, this is being effective for us. We're able to keep our rates down, and that's, he said, almost unheard of. And I'm sure, Todd, you guys, as far as utilities are,
I have a lot of people that use the clinic. I really do, and they're liking it, and it was nice to see that we stayed status quo.
Yeah.
It helped a lot. Trust me, in our budget, it helped a lot.
absolutely. One of our biggest expenses is our health insurance. So pass that on to your employees as well. Thank you. And we appreciate it, and they're going to see this also. I mean, and as far as the premiums are going to be raised this next year, so we're, did you make? Yeah, George, second. Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller. Megan Sheets.
Okay. I didn't have anything else this evening. Does anyone else want to take care of the writing for us? Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Okay. Great, second. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight.